What's up, Bloodline folk? This is Bill again with another video. On this video, I'm going to be rolling through some campaign stuff. So, stage 17, 14. So, chapter 17, stage 14. So, this, I guess, would be considered kind of, you know, late game for where we're at right now. But in the grand scheme of things, it's still kind of middle game. But I just wanted to give kind of indication as to what it looks like up here. So I'm going to try to roll through chapter 17 now that I got my guild buffs up. With with the F Lume, I really like her, but you really need to play manually if you're going to take advantage of her efficiently. Um, Throughout a lot of the beginning stages, I was just rolling auto, right? And obviously, I'd recommend rolling auto if you can. But it's a good idea to take it off and manually do things. And if you are going auto, at least pay attention to what's going on. So that way, if you run into a tough stage, you can quickly take control. So, for instance, the reason I said about the F Loom is her ability, her ultimate ability. Let me slow down the speed on this next one, too. Her ultimate ability, it refills the energy bar of the person on your team with the highest strength. And however much she refills is how much energy it takes off of her. So if the person is at half energy when she casts a spell, then it fills them up to full, and then it takes her back down to half energy, so she can more quickly um, gain her ult back. So on this particular setup that I have going on, I really like the M Lion, who's just a stud. Love the M Lion. I think he's the best tank by far. I don't care what anybody else says. And then I have my F Ignis here, who's just awesome. And then I have my F Yiv, who I still think the F Yiv is better than the M Yiv personally. She does more burst damage. Is the highest damage dealing assassin with her skill set. And then I have the M Tide, and then the female Loom. So my F Ignis has the highest strength on my team. Now I did that on purpose because I want her to get the Loom's ultimate. Now her, let me go back here. I'll show you in my champion screen. So for instance, on my Ignis here, her strength was a little bit lower and the tides was a little bit higher. So I made sure to switch out a trait on her. I gave her brutal, which she didn't have before, so that made her strength higher because I want her to get that proc. The tide is great, but it's a single target damage, right? So when that loom goes off, it enables the person not only to do another ultimate, but it also enables it also gives a strength enhancement, and it's a pretty big strength enhancement, right? So the Ignis is hitting multiple targets, so that strength enhancement affects her and it affects the battle more than that tide. The tide is great, but this guy's single target. So, he's not going to be doing the damage your Ignis is doing. I know there's Tide fanboys out there, and I do like the Tide, but I think that's what makes the Ignis so much stronger is her damage output is so much higher when you're facing a party. Now, if you're facing a boss, fine, you know, the Tide would be better technically, but we're not. In most of the game, right? You're going through arena, you're going through campaign, you're going through other elements where there's multiple targets. The only time we're facing single people is in expeditions and guild boss battles. And to be honest, I mean that stuff doesn't really matter too much anyway, right? I mean the rewards you gain for being top in expedition is minimal at best. I don't really pay attention much to it, to be honest. I like progression, so I want to do well in campaign. I want to do well in arena, and like things like Guardian event and stuff like that. And the M Tide doesn't really shine as well during those events. So if you look at the M Tide, his strength is 145,000, and the F Ignis is 168k. Now before I put brutal on her, and I know it's only 17. Before I put brutal on her, her strength was lower than Tide's. So I didn't like that. So I made sure to put the to up her strength to make sure that she got the Lume's ultimate. So let's go back into the campaign. Now my Tide always goes first, and then the Yiv, and then I do the Ignis and the Tide, Lume, and Ignis again. And usually by that time, it's GG. Boom. That's right. I was going to slow it down. I'll do that in the next fight. So we're slow it down here. So we got the lion's going to go first, then the Yiv, then the female Ignis, and then I do the Tide, and then I do the Loom, which is going to she got banished, so it's going to be a few seconds so she can do her ability again. And if you look at the damage she's doing, come on. Holy moly. If that doesn't need to be nerfed, I don't know what does. I mean, yeah, it's not as good as the charm, but just saying, the length is just too much. Alright, let's try again. The only teams that give me a little trouble with this team are the ones with the female Lux, because that female Lux, oops, wrong order. The female Lux, which she charms my Ignis, who is my main damage dealer, and she just starts shredding my own team. So that's the only thing that really gives me a problem at this level. I'm gonna see how far I can take these guys. Go again. All right. So we got Lion, Iv, Egg, Tide. And if you look at the damage that's being done, you'll see that it's more when she has. See how she's hitting for 1.7 million on each one of those hits, and that's after the Loom buff, right? So not only the female Loom, for anybody who tells you that this character isn't good, they're just not using him right. Um, yeah, I'll be honest with you. I mean, first of all, you have to manually control it. You don't have to, but it's going to be a lot more efficient that way. If you're not manually controlling it, then you're not controlling um, when she does it to the right champion. Like for instance, if the Ignis is already full, sometimes it puts it on a different champion instead. Oh my gosh, another male Lux. Oops, wasn't paying attention. Sorry. Oh, I'm gonna lose this one. Probably. Wow. Holy stun and banish Batman. Alright, I'll redo this and beat it. So as you can see, the only ones that give me problem are really the ones with the luxes, I guess. You know, not just the charm, but that banish can mess me up too. And we want to immediately use the loom, and then immediately use the lux. Get it off before the. There we go. Holy stun! Boom and boom. That should be it. Now let's just do auto and see what happens. Let's slow it down. So the Yiv, Tide, Ignis. So this one is actually going to work fine because the. Oh, see, she went first, right? So who did she make full? She made the Tide full instead of the Ignis. See how the Ignis hadn't used her ability yet. So because she was full energy, the Loom didn't work on Ignis. It switched to Tide instead, and that's why it's important to manually control. If you're doing an auto, it does the Tide, and that's fine. The Tide hit like a truck, but it was a single target. right? And that single target damage isn't doing as much, unless later on, if there's only one target left or something like that. Sure, I mean, if you want to be efficient, you can have it work on the tide instead. Keep the Ignis bar full, and then put it on the tide. Ooh, man, those Volkers are something else. Let me tell you, they're gonna die though. Boom, 3.3 million damage. Bye. Good night. All right, let's see how far we can go. Let me increase the speed just to see how far we can go here. Oh, come on. Oh, it's on auto. Still gonna win. Spin to win. All right. So, one of the things I like about this game is I've played a lot of games like this in the past and played a lot of them at a pretty high level, I think. But I like the diversity in this game. I like how there's a lot of different combos you can do and a lot of different champions that can work. And, there's definitely um, certain champions that are better than others, and I did a tier video if you want to check that out. And there's a bunch of others out there as well, like Belligerent. He's my favorite guy who does these videos. I watch all his videos. He does a really good job. Um, but there's champions that are definitely better than others, at least right now. But there's a lot of things um, you can do to do different combos and different things that work together to have synergy in your team. And I think that's really important for the longevity of a game, right? If a game is just about getting X champ and then you win, it's not really fun. It doesn't, and it stops people from playing because once they get that champ, it's all over, and no one and everyone stops playing. But in this game, there's so much. There's a lot of champions to begin with, which is great. I know there's a lot of games out there that have a lot more amount of champions, but for the game just coming out and to have this many, I think is really good. All right, I think I'm actually gonna stop the video at this point. I didn't mean it to last this long. I didn't think I would progress as far as I did in the campaign. I'll tell you what. I'll put in the notes how far I progressed if anybody's interested. But for now, I think I'm just going to cut it here. If anybody has any questions, put them in the chat. Come on to the Discord and ask questions there. We're always happy to help out. And it's a great community. That's one of the reasons I like this game too. A very active community and a very helpful community with a great bunch of mods. Thank you.